Welcome back to IAS Net Study. This is the ethics series and this is the 20th video in this ethics series. We were discussing the fourth unit, emotional intelligence. In the last video, we talked about the first aspect, emotional aspect. Now we are going to connect it with the intelligence aspect, and we are going to see the framework of emotional intelligence in this video. So let's get into the discussion of this. Emotions, you understood what exactly the emotion, the three components of emotion. Then we talked about types of emotion. Then we talked about purpose of emotions, right? Now let's link with that. Emotions considered as illogical based on your feelings, gut feelings. Now intelligence, where you have to act rationally, rational decision making. Now there is a combination of emotional and rational thing. Now why do you combine these things? You can use these two to channelize your energy for constructive purposes. For some constructive purpose, you can channelize these energy. So that is the reason emotional intelligence helps a lot, both in private organization as well as the public organization. Right. Now, what exactly this emotional intelligence is? In a simple terminology, let me change the color. Emotional intelligence is understanding my emotions. I am going to understand my emotions, and I am going to understand your emotions also with the help of these. So there is a information, I got the information about my emotions, and I've got the information regarding your emotions. Now I am going to use this information for something constructive. I told you that it is for some constructive purposes. So this information, this is going to guide my behavior, this is going to guide my thinking. Here emotional intelligence, here I am going to channelize my energy, my emotions for something constructive. So how am I going to do that? First I am going to understand my emotions, I am going to understand your emotions. Now I got the information. Using this information, I have this info, I have these factors, then I use this information, and with the help of this information, this is going to guide my behavior, this is going to guide my thought process, this is going to guide my thinking. So if there are any conflicts in my organization, I can solve it. If there are any interpersonal relationship issues, I can solve it. If there are any confrontations, I can solve it in an ethical way. So here I can find solution for typical situation or tricky situations, right? This is emotional intelligence. Now, emotional intelligence, it is the ability to monitor one's own and other people emotion. I am understanding my emotion. I am understanding your emotion. To discriminate between different emotions. Here I am understanding the emotions. There is a information. What exactly you're feeling? Your emotion is anger. My emotion is peace. So there is a clash between these two emotions, because I want your emotion is also peace. Then only I can go ahead with the particular deals. In public administration, I want particular file has to be signed, but you are also an administrator, I am also an administrator of a different department. Now the signature has to happen. Now in order to signature has to happen, I have to have a same emotional, the stable positive emotion. You also have to have a positive stable emotion. Now I know that I am positive, you are negative. Now I have this information. Now with this information, I discriminated, I understood the emotion. With these emotions, I can use this emotion to do something positive. So use emotional information to guide thinking and behavior. Now I can change my behavior, I can convince you, I can persuade you. For that, emotional intelligence plays very important role. So you can use it for negative purpose also. The same emotional intelligence can be, example, like you can manipulate other person, you can do persuasion or a social influence in a wrong way. All these things you can do, but let's see it from a positive perspective. Emotional intelligence, I am intelligent enough to understand the situation, and I am intelligent enough to behave in an ethical manner to handle the situation. This is emotional intelligence. And this emotional intelligence, I told you that understanding my emotion, understanding your emotion. Understanding my emotion is nothing but personal management of emotion, personal self awareness. This is, I am aware of my emotions and I can regulate my emotion. That is personal management. And then I can understand your emotions and I can guide you, or I can motivate you in that factor. That is social skill. It is, this is personal awareness, this is social awareness. Social skills, all these things comes under social awareness. So emotional intelligence, two aspects: self awareness, social awareness, right? And studies have shown that people with greater emotional intelligence have greater mental health, exemplary job performance, more potent leadership skill. Especially for a leadership quality, emotional intelligence is very important, because there are impulsive reactionary emotions. Usually we tend to express this. When you are emotionally intelligent, you can control these impulsive or reactionary emotions or behavior in the public podium, right? So emotional intelligence, this is an advantage. We are going to deal in detail, especially application of emotional intelligence in administration governance. Just understand the basic objective of emotional intelligence. Now let's talk about framework of emotional intelligence. What framework, or the different components of emotional intelligence? This framework is given by Daniel Goleman, and he is considered as a father of emotional intelligence, and he gave the detailed analysis and definition and various concepts of emotional intelligence. And the model he has given, it is also called mixed model, and it focuses on emotional intelligence as a wide array of competencies, skills that drive leadership performance. There are 5 components you need to remember with respect to emotional intelligence. I told you that emotional intelligence, self awareness, and social awareness. These two factors are quite important, and you can distinguish these 5 components into self-awareness and social awareness. The first component is that self-awareness. As I told you, self-awareness, I have to understand. See, this is understanding my emotion, this is understanding your emotion, right? So first I have to understand my emotion. For that, I need to be aware of myself, self-awareness. Then the second thing is, I need to regulate my emotion. Not only understanding is fine, but after understanding, I have to control, I have to regulate. So self-regulation also. Now I know what are my emotions. Now I can control my emotions. And the third aspect is, I can channelize these emotions to do something positive. So motivation is the third component. These three deals with self-awareness, right? So there are two mainly: understanding your emotion, understanding my emotion. Now understanding my emotion, it is self-awareness, it is self-regulation, and motivation. These are with respect to understanding my emotion. Now I understood my emotion, the first part is done. And the second part is, I have to understand your emotion. How do I understand your emotion? It is nothing but, as a self-awareness, there is a social awareness. Empathy is nothing but social awareness. It means that I know what exactly you are going through. I can understand your pain, I can understand your suffering. So your the present state of mind I can easily understand. That is nothing but social understanding. It is about you, it is not about me. Empathy is not about me, empathy is about you. So social awareness. So the second aspect, understanding your emotion, it deals with empathy, it deals with social skill. I understood what exactly you're going through. Now I have to convert into some kind of action. I have to motivate you to do something. How do I motivate? But through the persuasion. So that is nothing but social skill. So I can inspire you to do something. So that is social skill. So I understand my emotion, I understand your emotion. My emotion includes three things. Your emotion have two components. So framework of emotional intelligence has 5 components, and it can be distinguished. 3 components is for understanding my emotion, 2 component is for understanding your emotion, right? So let's see in detail regarding all these components. The first component is self-awareness. Self-awareness, as the name indicates, self-awareness, I want to understand my emotions. In order to understand my emotions, there should be a self-awareness. What is self-awareness? It is an ability to understand my emotions. What basic understanding of emotions are necessary, not only my emotions. Basically, there should be understanding of emotions. Once I have this understanding of emotions, then I will understand what exactly there is a see, I am getting angry or I am getting sad. Now I have to understand what are the triggers. Why am I happy, why am I sad, and why am I getting irritated? So I need to understand various triggers in my behavior, and I need to understand my strengths, and I need to understand my weaknesses. When I understand all these things, then I can analyze my value system. Is it positive? Is it negative? All these things I can understand. So the first component is self-awareness. Self-awareness is understanding my emotions. How can I understand my emotions? The first and foremost thing is, there should be emotional awareness. I have to be aware of what exactly emotions are, the basic understanding, everything I have to have. Then once I have the understanding of emotion, then I have to do accurate self assessment. Now I know why person gets angry, why person gets happy, why person is depressed, why person is not doing anything, lethargic, why depressed. Now emotional awareness is there. Now with the help of this awareness, I have to do my assessment inaccurately. In a neutral way, I have to analyze whether it is good, whether it is bad, everything. If the assessment is accurate, then only I can understand myself in an efficient way. If I mismatch this, if I don't assess myself, analyze myself in an efficient way, then it is of no use. I'm just manipulating it, or I'm just the it is not a fruitful exercise. If I don't, if I am not honest while analyzing or assessing my emotions. Then confidence, the another component of self awareness is confidence. If I am not very confident of what I am doing, then there will be confusions. When there are confusions, then this is directly going to make my decision, impact my decision making. Here, what is the decision making? Understanding my emotions. Here, understanding emotion is the purpose here. If I am not confident enough, then this exercise is going to be impacted. Then I cannot understand my emotions properly. There is a confusion, whether this, whether that. When there is a confusion, the whole activity of self awareness, this will not be fruitful. So the first component, the first framework, under the framework, the first component is self awareness. So self awareness, I have to be aware of my emotion. That is the self awareness. And actually there is a quote by Aristotle. In the next chapter, moral philosophy, we are going to have a detailed discussion regarding virtue atheist, all these things. Here you don't dig deeper. I will just give you the quote. In the next chapter, you're going to understand that Aristotle has given a statement that self awareness is beginning of all the wisdom. See, wisdom is one of, he's a virtue ethicist. Virtue ethicist, it means that your decision should be based on virtues, values. So the one of the prominent value is wisdom, according to you, according to Aristotle. So in order to get wisdom, what is the basic concept? The basic thing is self-awareness. When you have self-awareness, then you can get knowledge. When you have knowledge, eventually it leads to the towards wisdom. So Aristotle has given this particular quote. So self-awareness, understanding your emotion. A simple way, it is understanding your emotion. Right? That is self-awareness. And developing self-awareness requires tuning into your true feelings. See, you have to be honest to understand your what exactly you are. You should not, see, you can fool others, but you cannot fool yourself. If you're fooling yourself, it means that you're not being honest in the self assessment. So developing self awareness requires tuning into your true feelings. If you evaluate your feelings, you can manage them. See, emotional intelligence is nothing but understand your feeling, then you can understanding other feeling, then use it for some constructive purposes, right? If you don't understand your emotions first, how can you use it for constructive purposes? It is not going to happen. So first and foremost is that evaluation of your emotions, that is self awareness. This is the first component. And the next component is self regulation. In the last step, what you did is evaluation happened. Now you understood what are your emotions. Now you need to control your emotion, managing your emotion. Self regulation is nothing but managing your emotions. See, for positive emotion, it's fine. There is a pleasantry or some kind of positive mood. There's no management is required when you are dealing with positive emotions. But when you have negative emotions, there is an impulsive behavior. There, especially there will be some kind of disruptions will be there. So here self-regulation talks about ability to control these disruptive emotions, ability to control these negative impulses, negative reactions. So that is regulation. In the first self-awareness, I know what I am feeling. Now I am going to control what I am feeling. I understood that I am very angry. Now, in the second component, self regulation, I am going to control my anger. So, I cannot eliminate the anger or completely altogether, but I cannot control it. I can channelize it to do something else, something positive. So, here, self regulation. So, here, what happens if I control my emotions, it helps me to maintain calmness, composure, and I can, when I am calm, when I am at peace, I can make a decision very efficiently. So I can avoid rash decision or harsh decision or unnecessary decision, unwanted decision. Then here my response I am going to think and I am going to take a decision. My response will be detailed, my response will be evidence based. It is not that impulsive reaction. I am going to take decision based on proof, based on evidence, based on what I am feeling. I understood my emotions, now I am regulating my emotions. And it involves self control. I am angry, but here I understood that in a first self awareness. Now I know that I am angry, now I have to control my anger. So self control is one of the important factor of self regulation. And emotional balance, see, if I control my emotions, eventually this is going to lead to the emotional balance. And when there is an emotional balance, it will lead me to the adaptability. Say I am an IAS officer and I got angry with the way my colleagues are behaving or my superior is behaving. I'm not liking that he's interfering in every single aspect. There's a political interference. I'm not happy. I'm angry. But I realize that I am angry. I'm not supposed to do that. I can handle this in some other way. So now I am controlling myself. There is a self control. Now, because of the self control, there is an emotional balance. When there is an emotional balance, my decisions are strong. And now I make sure that whatever decision I take, there should be an adaptability factor. I know that I cannot handle him at this point of time, but eventually in future, with the right atmosphere, I can confront this person or I can take action against this person. So now I am adapting myself to the situation. So one thing, I controlled myself. Now there is an emotional balance. Now I am adapting to the situation. There is a factor of adaptability, and it helps me to, as a civil servant, it helps me to maintain my integrity even under these kind of pressures. Integrity, one of the definitions of integrity is integrating. You are integrating with the laws. I'm an IAS officer. My integrity is towards the rules and regulations by government. My integrity is to the constitutional morality. So this self-regulation helps me to maintain my integrity under any pressure. So the second component is self-regulation. And the third component is motivation. Motivation. I told you that understanding my emotions, understanding your emotion. So we are talking about understanding my emotion. In that, self awareness, talked about self awareness, I talked about self regulation. Now this third aspect, motivation. Motivation here, and I understood my emotion, now I am controlling my emotion. Now I am channelizing my emotion for something constructive purposes. Right now, motivation within emotional intelligence refers to, there is an internal drive. There is nothing but internal drive. I have a goal in my life. As a public administrator, my goal is welfare of the public. Or if I'm working in a private organization, what is my goal? My goal is profitability. So I have certain goal. Now I have to achieve this goal. So how do I achieve this goal? One thing, I know what I am feeling. I'm angry at this point of time. Now I am controlling my anger. Right now, the third is, I have to use my anger to channelize my energy for the constructive purposes. Right now, in order to do that, you need one factor, that is motivation. This motivation, it is going to drive you towards the purpose, towards the goal, towards the public service value. A motivated officer works diligently even in resource constraint, showing perseverance and optimism. If I have the aspect of motivation, it means that I have this positive aspect. I understood my emotions. I'm controlling my emotions. Now I'm using this emotion to do something positive. See, if I don't have this motivation, what happens? I'm angry. I'm controlling. How long can I control it? If I don't have that positive mentality, someday I am going to break down. But if I have that emotional intelligence, if I have this motivational factor, then I will channelize it to do something else, or I am optimistic that in future I can channelize it to do something else. So motivation factor plays very important role. And this motivation is made up of commitment. Here my commitment is for the welfare of the public. And see, my motivation is to achieve some positive thing. So in order to achieve some positive thing, I have to take that first step. So there will be initiative, there will be innovation from my side also. And resilience is adaptability, or uh, in that situation, I can, even if there are some hardships, I can make myself, or I'm ready to face all these things. So the factor of resilience and achievement orientation. So made motivation, it is made up of commitment, initiative, resilience, and achievement orientation. So we talked about self awareness, self regulation, and motivation. Now I understand, I'm done with my emotion part. Now I have to understand your emotion. Now I understand my emotions, all these things. I know how to channelize my emotions. Everything is set and fine. The first part is over. Now the second part, I have to understand your emotions. Now let's talk about the next. Empathy. Empathy is nothing but social awareness. First is self awareness. I am understanding myself. Here in empathy, it is social awareness. Now I am understanding you, right? Now empathy is that I can understand what exactly you're going through. If you are in a pain, now I can understand your pain. I can understand what state of mind you are in. I can even understand your physical pain. So it is ability to recognize how people is important to success in your life and career. The more skillful you are at discerning the feelings behind other signal, the better you can control signals you send them. See, when I understand you, first part, I understand myself. Now I understand you. Now I know that what I should say. You are in pain, I know that. Now I know that how I communicate with you. So what signal I should send them. As an IAS officer, there are group of people, they've come from a village. Now they have some certain demands. Now I understood them because there is no water facility there. There is no drinking water facility. That is why they are here. But they're talking to me in a very rude manner. They're very harsh, and I'm not happy about it, but still I understand their pain. So because of this understanding, now I can decide how exactly I have to interact with them. See, giving them assurance with some positive steps, they are happy. I know that this is because I am emotional intelligence. I know that this person is, this group people who have come from a village, they are angry. It is not they're angry on me. It is their anger is that they are not getting the basic necessary facility. So that is the reason they are angry. So if I have this clarity in my mind, then I can handle the situation really well. And how do I get this clarity? Emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, because I understand my emotions. Now I understand your emotions also. So this is the reason, me being an administrator, I can give my best if I have the factor of emotional intelligence. And this empathy, this, if a person has to be empathetic, or if he has to, if he considered very good at empathy, then perspective taking. This is what I told you, that you, there is a villagers, they've come here, they are angry at me, they are shouting at me. But if I understand the real reason, the perspective taking, they understand that why are they angry, that perspective taking, that is one of the factor, one among the strong factor to be empathetic. If I have to be empathetic, I have to have this factor. And sensitivity to social cultural differences. So what they are, the problems they are facing and what problems I am facing, it is completely different. Me being an administrator, my problems are that there is a political interference, there are no funds, and nobody listens to me, there are a lot of corruption. This is my problem. They don't understand my problem because their issues, their requirements are different. So when these kind of difference are there, when I don't understand, when I don't have this emotional intelligence, there'll be outright confrontation. I am going to scold them, I am going to kick them out. When this happens, people are going to lose their trust in administration. So if I am person with emotional intelligence, then I will develop the attitude of attribute of sensitivity. I am sensitive to the people, villagers. I know that there is a genuine problem there, even though I don't accept the way they are talking to me or the rudeness, rashness, but still I can understand what they're going through. So since that sensitivity, that's sensible sensitivity, all these factors comes with emotional intelligence. If I am emotionally intelligent, these factors is going to manifest in me. So the cultural social differences I can understand. And another important aspect of empathetic person is that compassion. I'm not only empathetic, I'm understood what villagers are going through, but at the same time, I'm going to take some positive step to ease out their suffering. Now I have taken a decision, or I'm going to convince the political leadership to release some funds to give the necessary drinking water facility to this village. So compassion in action is also another factor. Empathy, person with empathy, he should have, right? So this is the fourth framework. First, self-awareness. Second, self-regulation. Third, motivation. Fourth, empathy. Now I understood you, right? Next, social skill. Now I understood what I am feeling, I understood what you are feeling. Now I have to use this for some positive things. I have to use this for constructive purposes. Just by understanding it does not make sense. I understood, I know you very well, but if I don't do anything positive, what is the point of it? Now the last part is social skill. Social skill is nothing but, you can say, persuasion. Now I understood the state of mind of the villagers. Now I have to convince them. how I convince them is that based on the understanding of these people. So that is nothing but social skill. So social awareness and then social skill. First, social awareness. This will lead to the better social skills, right? So, social skills are the ability to communicate, to build a network, to resolve conflict, and foster cooperation. I am an IAS officer here. Now, I know why villagers are very angry. Now, since I understand their emotion, there is a social awareness. Understand my emotion, understand, I understood their emotion. Now, I know how to communicate. So, emotional intelligence, this is going to guide me in my social communication, and it helps me to resolve conflict. Now, villagers are not happy with the government, not happy with administration. Now there is a conflict. Now with the emotional intelligence I can resolve this conflict. With the help of this social skill I can resolve this conflict, and I can foster the cooperation. See, the way I convince them, way I persuade them, they are trying to give a chance. So since this all happened because I understand these people, because there is a social awareness. This social awareness happened, everything is interlinked. First, self awareness. Because of self awareness it lead to the self regulation, and because of self regulation and self awareness, this motivated me to take some positive action, and motivation helped me to develop social awareness, and this social awareness cumulatively this led to social skill, developed me to have a better social skill, and all these factor cumulatively they are called emotional intelligence. This is nothing but emotional intelligence, right? Here it is social skill. And the important social skills usually the better communication without any deceit, clear cut better communication, conflict management. See, even confrontation, conflicts is very common whether it is your personal life or your professional life. So conflict management, if you have this emotional intelligence you can handle these kind of conflicts, confrontation in an efficient way. And then influencing persuasion you can say, so that also helps you. Negotiation, that is also one of the way of social skill or communication. And then team building, these are some of the forms, most useful skills, most useful social skills, right? These are five components of emotional intelligence under framework of emotional intelligence. So the first we talked about self awareness, and then we talked about self regulation, then we talked about motivation, then we talked about empathy, and then we talked about social skills. So these questions have been asked on this topic in the mains examination. I think twice the direct question has been asked on the emotional intelligence, very precisely the components and the framework of emotional intelligence. And if you look at the various state PCS examinations also, this topic is quite common. And even in UPSC also, every year there will be one direct question on emotional intelligence. There is no indirect question, direct question on emotional intelligence. But last 2 3 years some kind of indirect questions are there. But almost out of 13 years, if you look at the question papers, almost 10 to 9 to 10 question papers there is a direct emotional intelligence question. Emotional intelligence in administration, emotional intelligence, how can you develop, and what are the components. This component direct question is there. And especially even in detail the self awareness, the empathy, these factors, these questions have also been asked. And how do you develop it in administration, governance, all these aspects have been asked in the examination. And another aspect is questions are getting repeated also in ethics paper. So don't ignore that, since it has been asked, no, questions have been repeated. Now the question paper, they've changed the pattern from 2 3 years, but still if you know the core concept you can answer these change pattern of questions also. So this is with respect to this particular topic, emotional intelligence and the framework of emotional intelligence. And here in the framework we discuss the five components of emotional intelligence. I hope you understood the concepts. I will see you guys in the next video. The two more videos would be sufficient to cover the emotional intelligence. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good time.